All right, Libras, welcome to your weekly sidereal forecast for August 7th through the 13th. My name is Athen. So, a very powerful week as it has been, but now this week we have the solar eclipse taking place on Sunday, and that's in your 11th house of groups, of friendships, of organizations, of your ideals, your visions for the future, your visions for humanity, perhaps for some of you. But anything essentially that is, giving and contributing to something larger than self. So if it is your community, if it is your friends, if it is an organization, but for those of you that are maybe, I don't know, self-employed or something, it might be what you do for a living in your work. So this is usually the second from the 10th. So it's more like the satisfaction you gain from your work, which is about, of course, giving. If you ask the people who are most successful and the most enjoying their work are those that feel like their work does give and contribute in some way. So anyways, that's what the 11th house looks like. And for each of you, it will be something a little bit, differently and more specific to you, depending on your personal chart. But a solar eclipse here is very transformative. Lots of new beginnings. Well, it could be one major new beginning in this area, but significant. And it's all in relation to the North Node. This solar eclipse is the North Node eclipse, which has to do with life path, future, growth, a new direction, perhaps even a new choice and new choices involving this 11th house for you. You've already got a lot of activity here with the other planets. Venus is here. Perhaps you're enjoying those groups or friends or whatever it might be. She's direct this week, so you'll probably notice that energy starting to move forward quite a bit. And this being your ruler too, you guys are coming out of less of an introverted sort of phase and more of a less internal reflection, more out into the open. Your energy levels should be quite good too. Mars here at the top of the chart. And maybe even getting things done within those groups and things. And Jupiter here creating opportunity. So it's a lot of different energies here, which I'll talk about in the aspects this week, but they're all setting the foundation for the solar eclipse, which, like I said, is very transformational. And you'll notice the seeds that you plant now for the next few weeks and the next few months will be culminating in the next 6 months when we have the next set of eclipses here in Leo next year at the beginning of 2016. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and look at the transits for the week leading towards this eclipse. Like I said, it's an internal kind of energy, so your ruler's direct, though, so you guys are probably feeling more momentum. You'll probably feel that gaining, but there is still that reflective energy of the eclipse as we approach it. Now, Mars is trining up to Uranus, so Monday through basically Wednesday, you guys do have this, we all have this inspiration. This is usually a motivational kind of energy. And so whatever it is, maybe in the work sector, something in the day-to-day sphere is prompting some sort of energy or opportunity here for you to assert yourself and put more energy into those 11th house matters. Okay, so it's usually something that we actually it could be something external, but usually in a general sense, it's just an internal feeling of new activities, of excitement, of breaking away from the daily routines, and just an overall fresh sense of an awareness of these 11th house things. It might also have to do with finances, material things, and maybe even relationship opportunities as well, since Mars does rule your 2nd and your 7th. So that's the beginning of the week, as well as Mercury squaring up to Pluto, which is a very intense energy, actually, of the mind and of our communication. So it's very important with this to allow our egos to take the back seat, not get too caught up in our own personal ideas this week or communicating things too harshly, too directly. This might be relating to the more spiritual stuff, and it could be behind the scenes. It could be your thinking that is fantasies or nebulousness or something like that, which might be an imbalance of that Mercury with the square. But whatever it is, stay grounded. It's an energy for all of us to stay grounded. Stay grounded with the mind. Try not to figure things out too much. Mercury in the 12th house, it's not the best placement for Mercury. It's a debilitated house. Not sign, but house. So here, it's art where our minds just don't know. The 12th house is everything we don't know. It's God's hands. It's everything that we just can't practically understand on an intellectual level. So maybe that might help. And I think the best way for everybody, especially for you Libras, is to have observational awareness, present moment awareness of the mind and of your communications this week. And then through that space, you'll probably feel it quite constructive, actually. You'll probably feel like you can wield your communications and your thought in a very powerful way, maybe diving deep into a subject, understanding more about spiritual philosophies or whatever it is you might be involved with. And through that, then it can be very constructive. But it comes from that non-attachment, which is, of course, Pluto there. And I think present moment awareness with Mercury in the 12th will be important. So anyways, that's the early part of the week, coupled with that that Uranus trining up to Mars, there can be quite the motivation, and as long as we're not trying to control things too much, then it can be actually very constructive part of the week. Now, during the weekend, we do have some other aspects. Mostly that solar eclipse will be the high point, but Mercury does sextile up to your ruler Venus, so there is this lightness of the mind, and I think now with your ruler direct, you guys will probably feel like a sharpness. So over the weekend, anything involving communications, practical stuff, maybe even getting that rest and relaxation, could be a great way of enjoying this. It's a very leisurely kind of energy and a chance to rest up too. With that being said, that's what the solar eclipse is about, introversion and these oppositions. We've got the sun opposing up to Chiron here over the weekend, as well as this Jupiter opposing up to Neptune. So this is all about, like you've probably been hearing me say, for those of you who've been following my weeklies, there is this balance energy of whatever you're doing on this collective level, group level, giving, contributing, etc., your ideals, balancing that with your spiritual passions. Neptune in the 5th house has been about you guys expressing yourself in a spiritual way. And if it's artistic, then it's spiritual art. If it's communication, it's communicating yourself on that deeper level. So all of that can be very healing. And in a nutshell, what this is that there's this importance of balancing while you're very other-oriented probably, or innovatively oriented, or whatever it is, 11th house. Remembering your own personal passions this weekend and going into next week. Remember that and ease into that and flow with that, because that's Neptune. And watch any over-ideals too. Watch any ideals where you're seeing that you can do a whole lot. And I don't know, sometimes it's with the 11th house, it's to do quite a bit for the world or for the community or, technologically. So stay grounded and watch any extremes too with your own personal passions. And I think as long as you're seeing things and people, for that matter, for how they are, but the situation for how it is, then it's very grounded, and a lot of these insights can be applied very practically versus sort of floating away. So that's one caution I've been saying to all the signs, is to just stay grounded, and then through that, more opportunities can certainly suffice with these maybe visions, and these, if you see the vision, if you have a vision, ground it, make it into reality, and that's all setting the foundation for these solar eclipse energies over the weekend. Like I said, this can be for the next 6 months. So what you start now, with the seeds you start over the next few weeks, you'll notice will be culminating at that time, and it's all involving whatever these 11th house matters are for you, Libras. So Libra, have a good week. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you'd like a personal reading, please get in touch. If you're new to Sidereal Astrology, do check the description down below, because this is very different from Western astrology. Your sign might be different. And yeah, see you all next time.